Tonight we're going to have tuna noodle casserole for dinner. I'm working my way through this cookbook, one recipe at a time. If that's something that interests you, then please be sure to like and follow. This recipe is nothing like the usual recipe that I would make. So I'm a little scared, a little excited. I'm a little scared because I like the tuna noodle casserole that I make. I'm excited because the husband was getting tired of the tuna noodle casserole that I make. So this one has a lot of vegetables in it. It's got onion, red bell pepper, whole mushrooms, and no mushroom soup. And usually when I make it, there's mushroom soup and there's just some frozen peas. So we'll see. I have my oven preheating at 400 degrees, and I have some water working on getting ready to boil for the noodles. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and start chopping my vegetables. You need 1 whole onion, 6 ounces of mushrooms. Smallest container you can find is 8, so I'm going to destem it anyways, it'll be fine. I'm going to start warming my skillet. I have the onions chopped. I'm going to go ahead and clean the mushrooms and start to dice them. Then hopefully by the time they're done, the skillet will be ready. Skillet's warm, so I'm going to go ahead and put a half a stick of butter in there to melt. Butter's melted, so I'm going to go ahead and add my onions to the skillet and let those cook for a few minutes before I put the mushrooms in. I added the noodles to my water. I just have a 16-ounce bag of extra wide egg noodles. It calls for 12 ounces, but I don't have a good way to measure it. I've already got a little extra on the mushrooms anyway, so I think it's going to balance out. I'd rather do that than have it just be really, really soupy because I didn't have enough noodles in there. I'm going to go ahead and add my mushrooms to the skillet now. I'm going to sprinkle a 1/4 cup of flour over the onion and mushroom mixture. It calls for 3 cups of whole milk. I have 2%, but I also have half and half. So I'm going to do 2 1/4 cups of the 2% milk and 3/4 a cup of the half and half, and that's going to give me whole milk. And I'm going to pour that into the mushroom onion mixture. I'm going to need a half a cup of dry sherry. I'm going to dice a red pepper while that is thickening. That has thickened up, so I'm going to add some salt and pepper to it. And I'm going to go ahead and add my tuna. It calls for albacore solid white tuna in water. It called for 2 6.5 ounce cans. I couldn't find those. I was able to find 1 12-ounce can, so that's what we're going to use. And then I'm going to add in that bell pepper. It called for some fresh parsley. I didn't get the parsley because you end up with so much of it and so much of it gets wasted. So I'm just going to sprinkle in some dried parsley. And I'm going to add in my noodles to that sauce. I'm going to transfer that into a baking dish. Then I'm going to melt a half a stick of butter in a separate container because this is what I'm going to add the breadcrumbs to. And then that's going to be the topping. And I'm just going to top the casserole then with that breadcrumb mixture. And I'm going to put it in the oven for 15 minutes. Casserole is just about ready to come out. If I would have been thinking, then I could have just left it in the skillet and popped it in the oven since I'm using a cast iron. Unfortunately, I didn't think of that. It's ready to come out of the oven. And there you have it. Tuna noodle casserole. It's beautiful.